Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. Welcome to the Vegan World 2026 Moonshot podcast. And we just had an amazing convergence over the weekend, and we are beginning afresh now. And today we are joined by Onetia Calloway. Uh, I am sorry if I butchered your name.
No worries.
Okay. How do you pronounce it?
I have a little catchphrase, and my children find it corny, but it works. So I tell people Vanetta is better because the I is
Okay.
silent, and I'm
Vanetta.
just
Okay.
call Oway.
Okay. Perfect, Vanetta. Thank you so much for being here. I
Absolutely.
mean, your story is so inspiring. I was just touched when you wrote to me, and uh, and I'm just amazed at what you're able to do with what you have. So, how did you even get into this?
Well, the Black Vegan Experience actually was born over a Vitamix demonstration in Costco. So I had learned from some shoppers in Whole Foods, that's where all of us vegan folk go for the good stuff. Um, and this young lady had mentioned that one of the hospital systems puts on a plant-based conference, and I was like, oh, that's fantastic. And so
Mm,
she shared I had already missed it. And unfortunately, since I'm a school teacher and it's in September, I usually miss it because it's just
mhm.
different, especially with the things that we've had to deal with COVID and scheduling and all that.
Okay.
So while in Costco, I happened upon a young lady who was an RN. Her husband was a naturopathic physician, and she shared with me that her doctor was plant based,
Mhm.
and that also her trainer was plant based. And my daughter was with me, who just finished her degree in nutrition and dietetics. And so I was just saying, like, what was on my heart about the conference, and I had asked them about it, and so they had attended, and I was like, wow, I wonder if it's more diverse, and they were like,
Mhm.
unfortunately, no, it is not.
Mhm.
And for me, that's really disheartening, because the health disparities among the Black and Hispanic communities are so discouraging. The numbers, the rate of all
Right.
diseases, kidney disease, heart disease,
Right.
diabetes, it's scary. And I was like, we really need this in the Black and Hispanic communities. And she was like, yeah, we just need to do our own. I was like, oh yeah, we do. We need to do our own. And that was in November, and I was ready to go in March. And so we had, formed a planning team, and I believe, yep, we were scheduled to go on March 14th, and the world shut down on March 12th.
Oh,
So
wow. This is last year.
yeah,
Okay.
last year,
Yeah.
yes, sir. And as much as I wanted to be upset, I know it was out of my control, and that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And, I'm glad that I was here to encourage my students and reassure my colleagues. And I knew that once we were safe and the world had more information, that we would reschedule the event. So we had our very first rescheduled event. We called it the Black Vegan Experience 2.0 this
Mhm.
past May. We had over 1,000 people throughout the day. We actually were able to launch. It was the very first day. Restrictions would have been released in Virginia, but at midnight. So
Hmm.
we couldn't have more than 750 people outside, even masked up with all the other mitigation,
Right.
processes in effect. And so even though it looked like we were small in number, people needed to be out. People needed to
Right.
heal. The togetherness is what engenders healing as well, not
Mhm.
just for the body, but for the soul, for the mind, all those things. And so when I was in the planning station, jumping backwards, I had different um, individuals and businesses reaching out to me to vend, but they were in other states, like
Mm.
Florida and Georgia, New York, New Jersey. And I
Mhm.
was like, why are y'all calling me? You
Right.
have your own events. And they were like, no, you are mistaken. You may see a lot of Black and brown faces, but we are not usually the organizers that benefit from any of this. We just get
Right.
to come in. And I was like, whoa, I had no idea. And again, I would have never known that until I stepped out on faith and said, let's do this thing. So it's been exciting. I've made some amazing relationships. Just listening to even my students who say that, the way that I share it is in a fun loving way, that say when they can cook their own food, they're thinking they'll be vegan or vegetarian.
Right.
Everywhere I go, I want to be that teacher. I'm a lifelong learner, and I feel like the more that I continue to build and grow, it'll be amazing. People will begin to trust me. They'll see our name out there more. I know it's a little indifferent right now, the energy around the globe, not just in the United States. And so it's a process, and we're going to help them heal a little bit at a time. So we
Right.
were in Orlando in September. We'll be in Houston on November 13th. Super excited about volunteering with the Houston Food Bank, which is the largest food bank in the United States. I had no idea,
Hmm.
but they have it figured out. Like, I'm going to learn some things while I'm there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is amazing. So, I mean, what is your background? You're a teacher?
Um,
Okay.
I am, and I learned that I have this amazing gift called ADHD.
Hmm.
So it explained why I had so many jobs.
Okay.
And as a school teacher, we have enough transitions throughout the day, and I consider it a superpower. And I'm able to relate to the children who have that as a disability. I
Hmm.
can pick up on those things. So a background in education and mental health.
Hmm.
Um, Working with children has been a passion of mine, and it's all been about, growing those little seeds. Like, I learned something from a friend, because I've had multiple jobs, Dr. Rao, but I'm
Hmm.
just pinpointing the ones that are really major. Um, is that we are only responsible for sowing the seeds. And
Hmm.
after we sow the seeds, we have to learn how to walk away and let God do the rest. And so that's what I've been doing involuntarily across the United States. As my husband had different duty stations and I had different jobs, I still was able to pour into young people,
Hmm.
older individuals who might have needed services. Even in the medical field, I've done some CNA work. Was a nursing student in between graduate school. So again, I've done it quite a bit, and I
Right.
started my PhD in strategic leadership just because I understand outside of the school walls how important it is to be able to organize and lead from the front. And I consider myself a servant, and I just love doing it. Just love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are all servants, aren't we? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
How else can you live? I don't understand how people can live without having the gratification of knowing you've done something for someone, and you may never see them again, but they'll see you in eternity. Like, to me, that's powerful.
Right. That's absolutely powerful. Yeah. So you have done two Black Vegan experiences so far. You said, right? One in
Yes, sir.
Orlando,
Yes.
and what was the
And
other one in
in
Virginia?
Richmond,
Richmond,
that's
Virginia.
like our landing area, because that's
Hmm.
where it was kind of born in the Richmond area.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So how was the experience in Orlando? Did you have to travel there to get it
Yes,
done?
sir.
Yeah.
So people probably think I'm crazy, and that's okay. That's their business, as Miss Tabitha Brown always says. Um, but the way that it was given to me, the vision was given to me to do this event, is to focus on taking care of home. Scripture
Hmm.
tells us charity begins at home. And it's easy for me to do things for my students versus my children. And they remind me of that often if I need a reminder. And so when I say charity begins at home, it was one we're going to start right here and then spread abroad. And then when it came to launching it outside of the Virginia area, the focus was on my family and friends and my circle who are not doing so well with their health, with their
Right.
wellness, water intake, fitness, any of those things that we, try to educate them on, and go to them first. Because if they're having any inclination of transitioning to the plant-based lifestyle, they need a village, they need support.
Right.
As a woman of color, with a background in education and a lot of other different things that make me this eclectic ball of information, that's not the norm for people to go digging up stuff. It's like, if they don't get it on a quick TikTok video or something Snapchat, very quick in their face, they're not going to dig for the information. So we're bringing it to them, and it starts with my home family, because
Hmm.
if I can impact change at this level, then it can spread abroad. So my god sister lives in the Orlando, Florida area. My
Hmm.
extended military family live in the Houston, Texas area, and that's where we're purposing everywhere we go on familiar or extended family friendships that we want to make
Okay.
sure that we can grow and support. So now when I pop into Orlando, my sister doesn't freak out. It's like, okay, so we're going to go here to Ethos, and we're going to this restaurant, and this place has this, and
Right.
there's no more question, what I want for my birthday, or they know where to
Right.
go now. And then for themselves as a family, because they usually would eat all our food when we brought it back to the house.
Right. Right. Yes. So tell us about what these events are. I mean, you hold it for the whole day. Is that how it happens? Yes.
Yes, sir. So and I've seen and heard like some different things, and I did a little bit of research, but again, most of the vegan festivals I see, they're wonderful. Some
Hmm.
of them are amazingly, successful, 50,000 to 100,000 people. And I'll be honest, I don't want to see those kind of numbers. I feel
Right.
like, the larger you get, the less intimacy you have.
Hmm.
Yes, you can make a connection, but is it genuine? We want those authentic relationships to be built. So, in a conference environment, you expect to be there bright and early,
Right.
correct?
Right.
So we know people are not going to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, to come ready to learn. They're probably half asleep on a Saturday morning, with the kids, pulling at their toes to fix them something to eat. But I felt like a later morning start would give us the opportunity to tap into like the educational learning,
Hmm.
times. Most people morning ready for that. So our event runs from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. because we don't
Okay.
want the whole party festival, concept to take all of the energy, and attraction. We want to make sure people that are coming, because there are some that are coming intentionally for information. And so that
Right.
removes the distractions of the hangout time, the fun time. Well, I know I can go at this time and get this if I want to pop in or pop out. It's
Right.
available. And so usually Dr. Mills is front and center before lunch, so we can get the best of the best out. And I'll tell you, he can go a long time.
Yes, he's amazing.
But I'm telling you, even my 17-year-old daughter, she tricked me one time. She made me think she was going to become pescatarian. And after I bought all this food, she went next door to a cookout. So I was like, you can do that on your own time and money. But um, but she actually told me, we always like, because when I have a job, even if I'm teaching or with the Black Vegan Experience, they are my team members. Like
Hmm.
we all work together. When I eat, they eat. So she was part of the team, and she has ASD, so she is very direct with her answers and very honest. And so I asked her, I said, what did you think about Dr. Mills's presentation? Because, others would say, oh, it's too long. She was like, well, we could have played a couple of games to tie the information in. She says, but it took me back to science class. And I was like, wow, milk is disgusting. Help us. Probably not gonna do that anymore. And so again, I'm not forcing that on them, but
Right.
she had that herself, and for her to relate something to school, that was a gift.
Right. Yes. Yes.
It's a gift. I
So,
love
but
it.
I mean, what I found amazing. I mean, I went through the Houston event that you're organizing on the 13th, and the combination of comedy and music and education and food. I mean, it's got everything,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And you know what? I feel led to do it like that, Doc. So think about it.
Hmm.
If you were coming somewhere as a guest, you could have
Right.
been a friend of a friend. Everybody in my circle doesn't look like me. Matter of fact, my godmother is in a wheelchair and she has blue eyes and brown hair, but she was the first one to buy her ticket. Um, you will feel attacked if
Hmm.
everybody else around you is vegetarian, vegan, and you're this meat eater that's, oh my gosh, I'm in an unsafe place.
Right.
And I don't, they're talking about my weight. They're talking about, oh, I know I have blood pressure. Oh my gosh. And they're going on. So eventually that person will feel attacked and they will close themselves off. You get the whole, I'm
Right.
done. But if we make you laugh a little bit, if we feed you some good samples, if we get you up moving around, getting jiggy with it, in the middle
Right.
of the conference, you're gonna forget about the information. You're gonna forget about the fact that you don't connect to that group that way, and you're gonna have so much fun that you organically remember everything, and you go tell somebody.
Right.
So that's the excitement we want to build and make sure we're reaching all groups. And I understand, for marketing purposes, everyone wants to target one group, but I don't want to leave anybody out.
Yeah.
So we've been growing it to make sure we have a kid zone, and of course, the
Right.
teenagers tell you what you must do to remain cool. And
Right. Of course. So you have teenagers in your organizing committee in your team?
I do. My
Yes.
17-year-old, and then my son is 20, but sometimes he acts like he's 17 too. So I count him as that. But it's amazing what you learn from young people. And, she helped me, I guess, kind of give, people a more concise, expectation about it.
Hmm.
When you go out to anything, you want to have fun, meet people, make memories. And in the case with us, you're going to learn something new. And
Right.
so I love it. And she's just added more value and meaning to it, for the young people. Let me mute this real quick.
No worries.
You don't want to hear that. So it's exciting. And then it gets them involved. And when she's able to take ownership of it, then it actually permeates beyond the event back to home. So she's consuming more of the vegan meals with my daughter. My eldest daughter is the one that's vegan. She's 26. She's
Hmm.
consuming more vegan meals with us. She's actually asking where we're going to go get some more Thai, tofu, etc. Or like when I made the palm fu stir fry. Oh, mom, that's good. It just needs more pepper. And she takes her little bowl to play with us, and she'll begin to ask more. I really feel like they're so lazy. They can't help it. That's part of the process. That the whole family would be vegan if we just had a chef. Because I'm not going to commit to that. I can't every day, all
Right.
day. But if we had a vegan chef in the home, I'm really sure that my whole family would partake. Because the meals that I fix are amazing. I've had some Indian dishes that have blown
Hmm.
my mind. I've had oh my goodness, there's a whole Asian restaurant that not just Chinese but Korean and Thai, and I'm
Hmm.
like, you want to move in, but that's not okay because we have to do some raw, and
Right.
we want to make sure we're addressing that as well because the quick foods and the junk foods, that's okay when they're convenient, but we want to make sure we're staying true to why we chose this lifestyle in the first place, which is healthy eating.
Right. Right. So, name some of the people who are going to be at the Houston Vegan Experience.
Oh, sure. So we have Miss Shyla Chef.
Hmm.
She's now 17 years old, and she went vegan on her own and is now like a little chef. She has her own juices. I believe she
Hmm.
has her own cooking show. So she is one of our guests, and obviously she connects to the younger generation. So she can answer their questions without us telling them what to do, as they say we
Right.
sometimes do. We have Gray, who is connected plant-based dripping. We
Yes.
have Pineapple Vegan coming through. We have Body by Madison, the plant based trainer, bodybuilder.
Hmm.
If I look like that when I'm her age, when I grow up, I'm going to be all right.
Right. Yes.
We have some other special vendors that are connecting. I'm trying to remember everybody off the top of my head, but I have it posted on the Eventbrite page.
Right. Yeah. I posted the link to the event on the chat. Yeah.
Yes, and we've invited some special guests that we can't disclose because they don't want sure yeses in case they can't make it. But those are our friends that are joining us from off the dome, what they call it, the dome, off the dome.
Right. Right. Yeah. People are asking, when are you going to have another event in Virginia?
It will be either next March or next May. So the original plan was to have it March because it's the spring, and the focus was do a spring, summer, fall, and winter event with
Hmm.
winter events, obviously in warmer climates. And what happened was it was not available. The space was not available. We couldn't meet outdoors yet, and we
Right.
were meeting at the historically Arthur Ashe was from the area,
Hmm.
phenomenal athlete, and we wanted to have it in the center, which again is like a sporting events. They have
Right.
the everything inside, but it wasn't available. So we did it outdoors between the stadium and the baseball center. So it will be based on availability for those that are curious. So it either be May or March, but we will post it as soon as we have confirmed the venue. So we're holding out for Arthur Ashe, but if not,
Okay. That would be awesome. That would be so amazing.
and we
Yeah.
had over maybe 25 to 30 vendors, and Slutty Vegan from Atlanta, Georgia was there, which I don't know if you've heard about them or not, but they have burgers that are sinful, quote unquote.
Right. Yeah.
It's phenomenal, phenomenal. Dr. Milton Mills, keynote speaker. We're also going to have, because I forgot, he's the most important guy of them all.
Hmm.
Um, Big Pop Comedy will be there, and we'll have some guest DJs. I'm thinking we need to have a couple of dance battles, Dr. Rao. Because
Right.
that's how you really get people off the seat. And if they're eating too much, I understand it might not be available later. So we want to get them burning off calories so they don't feel guilty.
Right. 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 So you have dance competition too?
Yes, sir. It'll be a small one. It'll be a small one, but yes. And we have a Zumba demonstration. And I've invited another fitness company. I don't know how much you do TikTok, but when you watch those videos that are just contagious, like you just have to keep seeing it over. And it's
Right.
actually women, a group of women working out. It's called Reggie C Fitness, and I mean to tell you, they look like they're in the club. So I guess I wouldn't think I was working out either. I was like, oh my goodness, bring it! Can you bring it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. What is amazing about your events is that I think people are going to have fun when they are making this transformation happen,
Yes,
when you're planting the
absolutely.
seeds,
Yes.
right?
And that's what we want them to leave with. No, no
Right,
beating you over the head. I've heard it on different, different fields.
right.
And even here in our teacher's lounge, when we're eating lunch and people know that I'm vegan, they ask questions. I love it. And then I hear like, oh, I can't even do this or the other at this friend's house because it's all, oh, you're eating murder meat. And I'm like, well, we could talk about how they probably feel, why they probably feel that way, but you won't
Mhm.
get that at my dinner table. I probably would invite you to sit somewhere else, but um, we just keep it open. We keep options available, and
Right,
most of the
right.
time when you feed people, they don't really argue with you.
Exactly. Yeah. Their mouths are full, right? So,
Exactly, you get it.
yeah. So, how do you leave a lasting impression? Once, like, how do you leave a lasting, meaning, how do you leave the community with more support so that they can continue if they have more questions or whatever? Yeah.
Well, as you know,
Mhm.
unfortunately, due to the historical, social, and racial constructs in the U.S. and other places around the world, there's a lot of distrust
Right.
in communities, specifically between Black and Hispanic populations and Caucasian American populations. And so when you hear information presented from someone you don't relate to, you
Hmm.
just kind of disregard it. You always question it as suspect, and you don't usually engage. And so what I and my team hope that we engender when we go to communities is a level of family. Like, it's not you and them, it's all of us.
Right.
So we leave them empowered to continue building upon those relationships and making those
Right.
connections, and learning about other resources through the event.
Right. Uh, but then, can they contact you if they have,
Oh,
or
yes,
they,
sir.
yeah.
Absolutely. So we usually post all of our information on the pages. They're able to direct message us. They're able to email us.
Hmm.
Other vendors or speakers that have participated have always said that they can reach back out. For example, Ms. Pauline Stevens spoke about food combining with young people, and she opened up her doors. She provides other services. She's an Ayurvedic healer. And so again, reach back out. Some free services were provided, sessions were provided. So even the vendors who know how important this is, the speakers who know how important this is, and have an opportunity to give the information
Mm.
in a one-to-one setting, are making themselves available, and that's exciting. I love it. I love it. The
Right.
Q and
Right.
A's, the being able to reconnect. Poor Dr. Mills. I think my mother held him hostage at our event in Richmond, but she got all her questions answered.
Good. Yeah, good.
And that's great. My mother, she was a young mom, so I don't think she might be 65. They don't talk
Hmm.
about their age. But if I had been born any other time, she probably would have thought I was nuts. But I'll tell you, it's just amazing. Even if she might fake it until we're on the way to the house, like she does her ginger teas. She has all of her different supplements that we have, brought her, the natural herbal remedies. Her meal plant shakes, like every single thing that we bring her. She may not like it, but she will always try it because she trusts me. And then
Hmm.
because of her trust in me and other people's trust in her, now we have a domino effect of people giving it a chance. So that's what we want to do, regardless of how old they are, or, if they're just new babies. So
Right. Right. So, how do we clone you? In
I don't know. My eldest daughter looks a lot like me, but she'll probably tell you, I'm not going to talk as much as my mom. I'm going to get to the point.
right. Now, how do we create more such
I don't,
experiences? Is what I'm asking.
all I can think of is when people wanted to make an impact. I know I was picking up. Just
Yeah.
reach out. Like, I don't mind, sharing, my story. I don't mind, sharing any connections that are going to
Right.
empower the community. And we actually formed a nonprofit earlier this year because a lot of the pushback we got for sponsorships. Got to get the lights back on. Uh-oh.
Yeah. That's fine.
Motion sensors in the classrooms. So when people want to reach out, they have that opportunity to do so. And so
Right.
I lost a little bit of my train of thought. Um, can you help me get back to that question?
Yeah, yeah. No, the question was, we need to replicate this in lots of places
Oh,
as quickly as
yes.
possible, right?
And
So,
and when you join, when you become an organizer, when you are following festivals, I have a person that attended in Richmond that came to Orlando. She's coming to Houston. She
mhm.
wants to know what the rest of the plan is for the next few years, and we have it kind of sort of mapped out through 2023. And so, like, I might not necessarily know about what's happening in Florida all the time, but people connected to me will see what I'm doing and share that in case I have other people to share it to. So you
Right,
begin to do a little bit more vegan networking, like what's coming up
right.
in Houston. There's some other events I think that Vegan Vibes is putting on December 4th, and Eat to Live just did an event in North Carolina. So we form these networks that we network out.
Okay,
And again, connecting the information. So it might not look exactly the same, but we still have similar information and we still have
right,
similar options. And you're going to go out and get what you can get and not pitch a fit, right?
right, right, right. Yeah. No, I mean it is. It's a formula, right? So you're coming up with the perfect formula that would plant the right seeds in
Yes, sir.
people as quickly as possible. Yeah. And so anything I can do to help you, put me on your list. I'd be happy to come and speak if I can, if it fits
That
into
would
my
be,
schedule.
I would love it. And I will tell you, Doc, I do not, if that's okay, I'm sorry if I should say Dr. Doc, but um, I will say that one of the elements that we miss is some of the conversation about our earth.
Hmm.
Yes, that's what we want to do is better self-care, better other care, better earth care,
Right.
um, in the inhabitants, but we don't really have as much conversation about this. So we would love for you to join us. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've been a diehard recycler since, I don't know, probably since I got here, but my mom didn't tell me about that.
Hmm.
But that was my small part. I majored in biology. I planned to be a doctor a long time ago.
Hmm.
Now I get to be a healer, which is I think it's pretty more cool, much more cool than just being a doctor, because I get to look at the whole person and help the whole person and
Right.
aid in healing. But back on topic, when my children began to walk, they would bypass, the carport, and there would be a tin for everything: plastic, paper, glass, tin. And they learned early on that this is part of us taking care of the earth and what
Right.
we can control. And so, again, I think a lot of people, they jump to, changing their diet with regard to their lifestyle. They do, try to do more things that are cruelty free to make sure they're looking for those things on packaging and, organizations or causes they support. But again, I really feel like that's a focus that we need to make sure that is also being addressed.
Right. Yeah.
Everything we do, what was it? They're trying to kill us. Like, it's the whole planet that needs to
Yes.
be a focus, and
They're trying to
I
kill
love
us.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's helping create these events in lots of places so that people can. Um, I mean, you've got the magic formula. I really believe you have the magic formula here. Okay, so you hit it out of the
Wonderful. Thank
park.
you.
Thank you, thank you so much.
It's exciting to hear that.
Yes, and I would love for you to come and speak at the next convergence in January about what's happened in Houston and what you're planning to do in the future, because we would love to support you in any way we can.
Absolutely, that would be exciting. And hopefully, as my name is out there, as our team is together, we'll
Mhm.
draw more sponsors who want to support our causes. A lot of times, people, they say they want to support social justice movements, and in a way, I feel like this is definitely a social justice movement because of, the different marginalized communities, not just Black, Hispanic, but they're marginalized communities within communities that
Right,
have food insecurities, that
right,
have never been taught how to meal plan or budget for food or even prepare a meal. So,
right,
eventually, as this grows and we have some excess, because right now we're just making sure we stay out of debt,
right.
um, we want to have a mobile kitchen where we take this, into the community. We provide the vegan samples. We show them
Mm.
how to prepare the food, and we leave them with options to connect with us, to, take grocery trips with us, our little virtual field trips, to stay connected, even if we personally can't be there in body.
Right.
So again, that empowerment is major. And again, as we go around the United States, the U.S. territories, that's the plan. That's what I'm
Mm.
believing for. We're going to take it everywhere. Even like somebody told me, oh my gosh, you're going to take Black people to Alaska? Oh, this is definitely from God. It's a little cold up there, but everywhere you're going to find a group that does not know what they don't know. And
Right.
you won't
Right.
know that. But again, how can you expect anyone to do better if they haven't been educated on it?
Right. Right.
So, but that's what we do a little bit at a time.
Is there a calendar of events that we could share?
I
Peggy
will.
asked that. Yeah.
I'm not confident enough to share the calendar.
Mm.
But if you reach out to me individually, I don't say I'm confident enough. Um, I just want to make sure that we have confirmed venues for
Mm-hmm.
the places because it
Right.
might
Right.
shift just a little bit. But she lives in Florida. Well,
Yeah.
they've asked us to come back and do a pop up, Peggy, next year. And one of the physicians with vegan primary care has said he would be there to support. So we're going to plan on getting down there before school or after school starts. So you can look forward to that. It might not be the whole experience, but it'll be a pop up of a good one.
Yeah. Typically, what are the venues that you play in? Is it at churches?
That's a good question. So, what the plan was to connect to either large churches or HBCUs.
Mm.
Why? Because that's where you find the largest communities of
Mm.
people of color. Our bodies of faith are usually the pipelines for information. They are
Yeah.
trusted. The leadership there, people can name all of the attendees or members in their congregations, and they're involved in the community. So I consider this a community event where you can bridge it. We're not expecting anyone to come out and provide a sermon. It's just a space, and most people feel safe, at either a church or a school.
Right.
And so the last event actually was at the Osceola County School of the Performing Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we were outdoors at the ballpark, but we wanted to be in the Arthur Ashe Junior Athletic Center, which actually is owned by Richmond City Public Schools. So
Mm-hmm.
again, giving back, and we're hoping to just be able to bless people that way. So it's familiar to them, it's safe, and making more connections. I've also spoken with Houston Community College, some of their resident life representatives, to see how we can get the schools involved.
Mm-hmm.
But it's difficult when you have had to work through the COVID closures and people working from home
Right.
and not being able to go in person. And I'm believing that I will be able to retire my full-time school job so that I can do this full-time, and that we can have some finite information out there, and people can connect with me at any time that they want to, because my
Mm-hmm.
calendar will be free,
Yes.
at least from 7 to 3-ish with the school hours.
Right. Well, I know that you have a very welcoming home in Phoenix if you want to do it.
I
There
can't
are
wait.
so many. I mean,
Wow.
I'll connect you with people who can bring you a whole network of churches.
Oh, wow, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, Dr. Rao, Dr. Mills and I had a conversation. We're working on. Actually, I think I'm supposed to connect with her today or tomorrow. There's a Reverend Carol who was out west and had planned a spiritual healing conference that is
Mhm.
focused on the vegan lifestyle. And actually, that's how I got connected to veganism. I did the Daniel fast, and I'm not sure if you've heard of the Daniel fast before. Um,
Daniel Fest. Okay, I heard of it. Yes. Uh-huh.
So the story in the book of Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
it talks about when they were kidnapped by King Nebuchadnezzar, and they had to change from Hebrew to their lifestyle, that he was offered the king's food, and he was like, no, I won't eat anything that my God doesn't provide. And so the Daniel fast actually was his actual lifestyle, but it
Mm-hmm.
was only plants, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and berry that he consumes. He didn't do all the other things. And when they were concerned that he might look sick or become sick or weak, he said, I challenge you to let me eat my God's food, and that I will do 10 times better. I will outperform. I will, be brighter like than all of them. And he did. And so that's where that the terminology came. I'm not sure who started it or coined the
Right.
term, but yeah, the Daniel's fast. And I think I followed Dr. Axe when I first began it, because there's some cookbooks, there's some literature that kind of goes with it for people who want to track it. And it's been interesting. It's really it helps you become more self-disciplined, just
Right.
being vegan, period. Being more accountable for the choices that we make, not just with food, but a lot of things. You really do think harder. Well, I hope most people are. And then on top of that, getting back to the raw things of the earth, what was already here for us. So actually this year when we go into like the corporate fasting with Daniel fast with our church, my daughter and I are planning to do it all raw. And blessed be God, we actually have somebody, Vegan Eats with Bree, who is actually going to be taking care of that for us so we can just eat and go, get to school on
Right.
time. Also, and the lions would not eat Daniel. That's right, Ray. He was protected. Their
Right.
mouths were shut because of his faith and his obedience. So I'm believing for the same thing, just favor and covering and just support because I can't do it by myself. And
Right.
I think that's kind of sort of the mode I get into. Like when people aren't moving fast enough, the money's not flowing fast enough. It's like, I can do
Yeah.
this. Let me just, I'll go out and stand on the corner with a bucket if I have to, if that's going to help me reach more people. And
Right.
then, family reminds me, Mom, just bring it in. You're a little bit over the top. Just hold your horses. It's coming.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
So that's how he got into it, huh? Daniel's fast.
Yes. I didn't take it seriously the first time.
Mm.
I had a relationship with bacon. Unfortunately, I have to say that out
Right.
loud, but it's the truth. And because you don't, it's a mind shift. Like, who would ever think about not eating meat if that's all they ever knew? And then you think about the Sunday dinners that, a lot of Black families have as a tradition. Those plates are ginormous. Now, it's shared, it's supposed to be shared between the whole family, extended family, but that becomes a part of what you expect. So then when you go to no meat, are you serious? And everybody, the same question. Poor little child I had 2 years ago was like, wait a minute. You a Black person and you don't eat chicken? I was like, no. Well, what about steak? I said, is it meat? Yes. I said, so I don't eat it. And he just was, I can't figure this thing out. Like he asked me for the whole week what I didn't eat. And I had to just remind him that if it came from an animal, it's not for me.
Right.
And they would try to see me at lunch to really see what I was and was eating. And so it was really cute to me how they could smell my lunch from coming into the classroom after I had, and they're like, man, what was that? Can I have a picture of that so I can ask my mom to get it for me? And I'm thinking, this is, yes.
Yes.
And it's
Amazing.
natural. It's so natural. So, yes,
Right.
that's how we got started. So I actually had done it this couple of times. And I think the third time we actually did it the way we were supposed to do it, which is nothing. And the Daniel fast is more, I don't want to say restrictive because that's negative, but it requires more discipline than
Mm.
just to me being vegan because you're not, you cannot consume alcohol. You
Mhm.
cannot consume any unleavened bread. Obviously, no dairy, no meat, because that's the vegan
Right.
fast in itself. Um, Sugar. So,
Mhm.
like, how many people pick up any labels and read for sugar? It's in everything.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, my sweet tooth had to retire for a little bit, and it was just a phenomenal experience. Not only just me, going to God, because food becomes an idol to us all.
Right.
Um, but connecting with my daughter, like, actually spending intentional time as we talked about what we were going to plan, who was cooking what, our grocery trips together, which we learned right away that my youngest daughter can't go on with us because the grocery store is our fun place and that is not her place to live.
Right.
She was like, I'm not interested. Stop bringing me. Say, who gets this excited over broccoli? So yeah, we've learned leave her at home unless it's a
Right.
quick trip. But it is. There's so much to explore and understand. And at the time, I actually was teaching at a private Christian school,
Mhm.
so I could actually provide like nutrition education. That would be like my best job if I could pick one, and still teaching full time
Right.
would be to teach nutrition education, focus on the vegan lifestyle.
Mhm.
And when rambutan and lychee and like all the different things I would bring into the classroom, if they were like, "What is that?" "Oh, here you go," and I cut a piece off, and I wouldn't get in trouble because we get we kind of have a lot of more autonomy there and freedom to do some things, and so it was really special. If I had
Right.
enough, I crock pot style, let's go for it. And it was welcome. And again, we're teaching the children about the Daniel fast and obviously a book of the Bible that they may have not really explored. So it was pretty cool. Now in the public school, of course, I can't do that. Um,
Right.
But I'm hoping like the outside connections I make, I'm learning about different students whose parents are pescatarian, who are vegan, who are vegetarian, and I'm able to share about my event, when I call,
Mhm.
and then share their businesses. I learned like one of my students, his mom owns a vegan bakery, and I'm like, you held out on me. His uncle has a sea moss company. Why are you not sharing this? This is a whole project we could have.
Right.
So it's I love it. I get excited every day. I learn something new, even if it's from the kids, something small like that.
Right.
Learning about the whole concept of why they're trying to kill us, why it's us as a whole. Like again, like we might see, but we really don't see. And
Right.
so it
Right.
really was illuminated during the conference. So I get tickled about it. Get tickled about it. We're gonna have to make sure Arizona's on the plan.
Yes. Yes. Please come. We
What
would
do you
love.
have planned for November 13th, Dr. Rao?
November 13th, I'll be in Glasgow.
Okay.
I'll actually be returning from Glasgow on the 13th. So,
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
so
I
I'll be on
won't
a
hold you
plane.
to this one then. We'll have to just make Phoenix a trip.
Yeah, no, I would love for you to come, and I would love to, I'd love to be part of the Houston vegan experience too. We are going to post about it. Okay. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, maybe we could work on maybe having you connect online because we plan to offer virtual tickets. I have an amazing production team, Voight Enterprises here in Richmond. Also, actually, production team for my church. So super proud and
Mm,
excited to have him on board. And my husband, doesn't always go, and so when he knows these guys are going, he knows I'm good because I'm safe. They're looking out. So
right. Right.
that's always important. But they have a great system, and we might even be able to plug you in if you could spare a few minutes. That would be fantastic. We could talk about the next convergence and maybe a little bit of what they missed on this
Sure.
one and
Sure.
how they can get involved.
Let me see. I think my flight is at noon on the 13th
Okay.
from London to Newark. So I may be on the plane during the entire time.
Oh, okay. I see. Hmm.
Let me see. Okay, I'll see if I can. If I can dial in, I'll dial in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be perfect. Well, Jasmine Leyva, the
Hmm.
producer of The Invisible Vegan, she's in Bali right now. So she was able to do a video that I could
Right.
share later, but she hasn't been able to do a direct connection because clearly she's on a different timetable. They're 12 hours or 8 hours
Right. Right.
behind.
Right.
But still being able to involve, and oh my gosh, and she's sharing all of these amazing things that she's doing and eating in Bali, and oh,
Right.
doc, I tell you, I can't wait to go everywhere, get a little bit of everything.
Hey, I would be happy to do a video for you and give it
Yep,
to you beforehand.
that would be perfect. That would be
Yeah.
perfect.
In
And
case I cannot join live, I can at least do that. Yeah.
that would be perfect because I did not know, again, as much as what you shared. And I'm sure we can't give them the whole package, but we can give them a teaser so they want to participate in January.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely. And then tell them that you will be there. You know.
Absolutely. That is it. I will be. We will make sure we are connected. And I can share that also throughout my little, not my little, it's social media is a bear, but we can
Mm.
overcome and share through that. And I feel
Right.
like the
Right.
more that even just my words, coupled by somebody else sharing it, that they'll join and connect. And even though my children were not as connected as I was, they will share
Hmm.
that. They will share the information they heard, because they
Right.
want to vet it against their friends and see what they know about it. And then they come in with the full kit and caboodle. My son will say, "Yeah,
Yeah.
mom, they've done their research."
Yeah. What is amazing about this is that we are really returning to our indigenous roots. Because I don't know if you know about Dr. Burkett, Dennis Burkett. He
I've
went
heard his
to
name.
Uganda, I think, Uganda in the 1950s. And he discovered that people in Uganda didn't have any diabetes, any heart disease, any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then he discovered it's because of what they're eating.
Plant-based ancestry, yes,
Plant based, yeah, yeah. That's the indigenous food, plant based food. It's the food of the kings that we
that's
are
it.
trying to eat now.
We don't need all that extra stuff.
Exactly.
I
It's
mean, a
not meant
mushroom
for
steak
us.
is just as good.
Right.
I tell you.
So here is a European who went to Africa to figure out what we should be eating.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's ironic, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
that's the way it happens a lot because
Right.
we're so removed from our ancestors. Unfortunately, we're transplanted people. So who are we going to go to for the information? My grandmother passed away 4 years ago, and we have
Mhm.
a lot of the big mamas and aunties that were the sources of information that passed down traditions. They're starting to part, company with the earth. So where are we going for our resources? And so hopefully I can be one of those voices that are in their ear, and I can get, more information to share. I love it. And, I'm not big on ancestry.com, but it would be interesting to see maybe, what tribes, some of our ancestors came from, and if
Right,
how related the diet was from one tribe to the other. Like,
right.
I just think it's cool. We could go on and on. Like, there's the possibilities are endless about the
Right.
resources and
I
the
mean, ultimately, we all came from Africa, right? So if you go back far
yeah,
enough, we all came from
Nigeria.
Africa.
That's
So
it.
that's the food we were eating,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure people in Africa are still eating that food until we came along with McDonald's and said, eat this instead,
But
right?
they're changing. What they're offering all plant based, or at least a plant based option. And I think I
Yeah.
saw that from McDonald's. And was it France that was taking a stand on it to contribute to their stance in climate climate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna help them. I feel
We're going to
like
help them.
they're
Yes.
losing money. They're losing money because we're not spending it there. Well,
Right.
I
Good
mean,
for you.
French fry here and there, but not right now.
Yeah, ultimately they have to do what we want,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
we are the ones who are spending the money, right?
That's true.
And
And when the consumer demands options, you have to fall in line or lose business.
right.
And we're seeing that. I was super excited to see Beyond Meat, even if it's not necessarily all plant based. At least they're getting some.
Mhm.
Pizza Hut was trying it. Hardee's was trying it. Dunkin' Donuts, and we know people eat. Some people eat this every day,
Right.
so at least they're getting an exposure to it, so that they know.
Right.
And my family, the Impossible Waffle. Oh my gosh, my husband took me on a date, and bless his heart, he freaks out, or he did freak out a lot more. Now he knows we got a Panera Bread and Chipotle. We can get, a lot of the bowls. He's like, finally, I have options. I can just push a button and get. But beforehand, he was like, "Oh my God, what do we do if we go on a date?" So we just didn't go on any. And then I was like, babe, it's okay. Like, Gardein, remember the plant based side of the store. You can get a frozen dinner. We can heat that up, or, all the other, make a salad. But, we've been going big or go home. And so when the Impossible Whopper came on, he's so cute. We went to go see a Marvel movie because he loves Marvel comics. And we're hoping one day we can help him with a comic book store where there are plant based options.
Okay.
He was like, "We're gonna go on this date. We're gonna get the Impossible Whopper together." And I was like, "Okay." So we go through the drive-through and we come back home. But while we were in the drive-through, I'm like, "You don't want cheese or mayonnaise on yours?" He was like, "Mm-mm. I'm gonna have it just like you have it, babe, so I can have your same experience, which is
Hmm.
my Black vegan experience." So it was kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Awesome.
We're
That's,
stretching them.
yes. I mean, yours. This is such an inspiring story, Vanetta. I mean, I wish you the very, very best, obviously, and everything we can do to help you, we are here to help you.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And
Yes, sir.
thank you so much for being here. Any last words for our audience?
I would just say, if you are interested in connecting and knowing more, building some relationships that maybe you haven't thought about before, please come and join us. The tickets are live on Eventbrite.
Hmm.
They're at an early bird discount right now, $15, and you can bring the kids. You don't have to leave them at home. They can come out and have a good time too. And just do your research, people. Love on each other. It's not that hard if you really try, and you'll feel better for it. Like, again, I was telling Dr. Rao, we can't always expect something to be there when we get there, but we can bring it with us. And that's what I
Right.
hope to do, is to bring love and to bring kindness and to bring relationship and community wherever I go, so we can continue rebuilding the villages that we used to have, as
Right.
they say back in old school times.
It's beautiful. I put the link to the Eventbrite on the chat. So please click on that and join. And I know it is $15 for the whole day, and you get what comedy show, a music show, you get food, you get to hear
Mhm.
Dr. Milton
Mhm.
Mills. It's a bargain.
Yes, yes.
It's a
Oh,
bargain.
and something I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about the comedy. So the comedy, Big Pop Comedy, he is my god uncle,
Mm.
and we had some other people connecting that were suggested from the community we were going to, and when he asked what kind of jokes he could tell, I said, "Oh, you can't participate until you do a 7 day vegan challenge." He was like, "What?" I said, "No, sir, because if you haven't can't relate, then you're making fun of us." And he was like, "For real, niece?" I said, "Yes, sir." And also for the young lady that was connecting for our spoken word, she had to do a vegan challenge. And guess what happened? They were excited about how they felt. They did it longer than what they needed to. And now they can speak from their own experience.
Right.
One of them had more clarity in her mind, her thoughts, just the way that she speaks and writes. And I was like, exactly. And you got to do it just because, you wanted to be a part of something bigger than what you were at that moment. And so, again, they're sharing those experiences. And he's tried a couple times, but he's almost 70 years old. We're working
Mm.
on him. But these are the resources they need so they can come back and
Right.
be motivated and know where to go and who to call and email. And so we're available. And, Dr. Rao, I know you're always there to inspire and motivate and encourage. And, we appreciate you. I'm so glad that we've connected. And I look forward to seeing this future that we get to build together for the rest of our friends around the world.
Thank you, Aneta. It's a pleasure as always to speak with you.